Hi, I'm Dr. Kim Logan-Nowlin.
I'm Arthur Nolan.
And welcome to Making It Work. Today on Making It Work, we're going to talk about the art of listening. How would you rate your listening skills? Do you have effective listening or do you have poor listening skills? What determines a great listener versus someone who cannot listen well? Well, two components. Number one, being able to convey a message, get that response back, and give them an appropriate response to their question. A lot of times we are not listening and therefore you get, huh? What did you say? Could you repeat that? And the other person says, what were you doing? I was talking right at you. Are you listening? Did you fall asleep? So we've got to look at the content, the quality, and the art of listening. Well, Arthur and I are going to demonstrate some effective listening and not so effective listening. So we're going to start off with some negative listening. This is all role play. So again, understand we're just trying to show you some of the things that people get into, and with Arthur and I being therapists, helping them to look at the way they listen and communicate. You may ask, why is it so important to have effective listening skills and the impact in relationship? Arthur, why is that so important in our relationships today?
To establish good relationships, we must be able to hear what the other person is saying.
Okay.
If I'm able to hear what you're trying to convey to me, then I'm able to give you a positive response or a response that is coming from me. And I'm asking you what your opinion is to my response.
And so to put that in layman's term, I want to be able to give you a good quality answer. So when someone is communicating with you, it can become very frustrating in your relationship, within the household, even with your children. You have to be able to give good information and how it's received and given. So Arthur and I want to demonstrate to you something that is what we do in our relationship seminars and role play. We're going to demonstrate one negative impact of poor communication. Then we're going to turn it around, talk about it a little bit, and then do the positive side. All right? You with us? All right, let's go. So I've been calling you for 10 minutes. How come you didn't answer your phone?
I did answer my phone.
You didn't answer your phone. I called you 10 times.
And on the 10th time, I answered my phone.
But you didn't call on the 9th time. I had something very important to ask you.
When I picked up the phone, you hung up.
That doesn't have anything to do with anything. I called you 9 times and I have something important to ask you.
I don't like the way you're talking to me.
I don't like the way that you didn't answer the phone. I need you to listen to me.
I answered
the problem
the phone.
is that you don't listen to me.
The problem is
excuse me, I'm talking right now.
I don't want to hear you talk.
See, what do you mean you don't want to hear me talk?
Because you're not talking. You're not trying to hear what I have to say.
I have been living with this for years and years and years. You don't want to listen to me while I'm talking, and then when I start talking, all of a sudden you want to start talking because you interrupt me.
You're saying it out of anger. And
I'm not angry. Do I look angry to you? Do I sound angry to you?
You try to act angry.
I'm not. All right, we're going to stop there. So what did you see? Number one, you can't talk at the same time. Somebody has to listen. And when there's two individuals in the room, there should be two listeners. Arthur should be listening. I'm listening. All right?
I think another important point that needs to be brought out in that exchange is the fact that body language conveys a message as well.
And we're going to talk about body language.
Not just words. You have to be able to watch the body language. And sometimes when a person is angry, they demonstrate a real aggressive body language, which makes the environment even more hostile.
So Arthur is saying there was a body language, the inability to two people trying to talk at the same time. The tone was loud. You heard anger. Did you notice the eye contact? And again, that body language. So what would you do differently? Let us show you, okay? Arthur, I've been trying to reach you for about the last 10 minutes or so.
I picked up the phone on the 10th call and you wasn't there. I guess you were just hanging the phone up, but what I should have done was call you back.
Okay. I appreciate that next time if you could call me back, because sometimes you don't pick up your phone. And I've been trying to, and maybe I'll try texting you. Maybe that'll help.
Well, yeah, but sometimes I'm away from my phone. I'll put it on my desk and leave it,
Okay.
and when I do hear it, I'll rush to it, and I'll try to answer it as quickly as possible.
Well, don't you want to know what I wanted?
Absolutely.
Well, I needed some eggs, bread, and some milk
Well,
before you came in, but now you're home.
That's no problem. I can still go.
You're going to go back out and get it?
Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate that. All right. Can I add some more things to the list? Okay, great. So right there, you got to listen to what did you notice about the body language? What did you notice about the body language, Arthur?
Well, there wasn't any aggression. It wasn't demonstrated. It was more of a calm atmosphere.
All right. That means I wasn't on the defense and you weren't on the defense.
No. I mean, we were able to communicate and
Okay.
make progress.
All right.
And you were able to hear me and I was able to hear you.
And the solution was I needed you to do what?
You needed me to go to the store for you.
Okay. So therefore, my message was conveyed and he was able to follow through. Now, let me ask a question. How many times during the week do you and your family members, or if you're a single person, sit down and just write down some short-term goals to improve your communication skills? And let's talk about those who are single, Arthur.
Well,
they got to communicate with people on their job.
Absolutely. I mean, but the first step is, even before you write down the goals, is to recognize that you have a problem in your communication with others. And sometimes when people will bring that to our attention, and we will still ignore that, Kim. Mm-hmm. So after I admit that there is a concern, then I want to change and try to improve the relationship and try to improve my communication skills. Mm-hmm. Then I will start writing, how will I do this? What is necessary for me to be a good listener or a good communicator?
Why do you think it's so difficult? And we counsel couples all the time. What do you notice is the biggest challenge in relationships when it comes to communication and listening? Is it listening or is it something else?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think after a period of time, sometimes we take people for granted and we try to listen, but our minds may drift off. And the next thing you know, you don't hold whatever that person is trying to convey to you as being important. And sometimes that will lead us to just totally not paying attention and doing something else or being distracted. So those are some of the things that will prevent us from developing good listening skills.
If you really want something done for you around your home by your spouse or your children, let me give you some simple words that will help you. Thank you. You're welcome. Please. That was so nice of you. People really enjoy getting accolades. Mm-hmm. Another tool, please, if you're doing this at the dinner table, texting on your cell phone, reading a newspaper, put it away and begin to communicate. We started a new, not a rule, but I asked Arthur, when we go out to dinner, can we put the cell phones away? Can we just have our opportunity to wind down and just talk to each other? How do you like that?
Well, I think it works well, but I think the cell phone is probably more of a problem with you than it is with me, Kim.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Well, I'm working on it to make sure that when people are calling, but right now we've been going through something with our business, mm-hmm. so we get a lot of phone calls to my cell phone. Mm-hmm. So, but I try to just put it down. Today we were out, I put it down. Because you need to just take it down a notch mm-hmm. and be able to unwind and hear what's going on in the dynamics of your household. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And not only at
within the house. I'm sorry to interrupt you. And I'm sorry, that's another pet peeve of mine. But Why do you say the cell phone is more challenging for me?
Because I think that you're on it probably more.
You think so?
I think you're more of a communicator as far as talking to people and the excitement that you demonstrate when you talk to people. You like to really, really you really engage when you talk to a lot of
Yeah,
people.
because people are calling for information. They want to set appointments. And okay, can you imagine you calling me for an appointment? Hello, Dr. Logan, can I help you? You'd be like, click. This lady does not want to be bothered. So what I do, I say, good afternoon. Thank you for calling. Dr. Logan speaking. How may I help you? Now, wouldn't that make you want to say, I know this lady really wants to help me? There's a difference.
But I'm not just talking about with clients, Kim. I'm talking about with just people in general. You know, you get excited.
I am an excitable person.
Yeah, no,
I have an excited personality.
You just
I just cut you off.
You just interrupted me, Kim.
I'm sorry. Well, what you were saying, was it going to be important?
Absolutely.
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, that's what
It was
I
about
thought.
me?
Yes. So, you know, you really need to write down what will improve your listening skills when I'm talking to you.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what can improve my listening skills. All right, prayer. I need to pray more. I'm learning to pray more before I speak. I'm learning to really take in my environment before I respond. Make sure I respond effectively so I'm not redundant. How do you feel about when people are redundant? They say the same thing over and over again. You know.
I know when you get excited, you know, that happens a lot. Not just you per se.
But people.
But yeah, people, when they get excited and trying to convey a message, you know, they sometimes they do say the same thing over and over again, which could be a challenge for someone who's just trying to listen and find what point that they're trying to make. But in many cases, that's where the breakdown in communication
That's where it is.
You know, and then when we're talking about listening skills and the communication aspect of within a relationship, if I'm unable to communicate with you, Kim, then I may get to a point where I'm looking for somebody else to communicate with.
And that's the danger zone.
Especially if it's at work. You know, I'm talking to somebody at work, and it may not start in the direction where I'm providing them with any type of information personally.
Right.
But the more I get comfortable talking with somebody else, because I can't talk with you in the home, then the next thing you know, that can lead to all types of negativity within a relationship.
How many times have we heard, you know, well, I just wanted to have a conversation with someone, and the next thing you know, you're involved with that person intimately. And it all started with a friendly hello, a listening ear. Tell me about your problems. Don't tell them about your problems. Find a way to communicate with your spouse. Talk to God. Talk to your pastor. Talk to someone who's going to really be there to give you sound, good Christian advice.
I think what's important, if you get to a point where you want to share information, you have to have a lot of trust in the person that's receiving that information.
Oh, no doubt.
You know, so I really think that you can find a counselor, yeah, but it has to be with somebody that you totally trust and that you have built a relationship with over the years. It's not just somebody that you meet in a few months and you think you know them and then you start sharing personal information. A lot of times that can turn out to be a negative situation.
I received the nicest compliment from a new patient, and she had gone to 2 other therapists, and I was just listening, and not a red flag, and I asked her, what brought you to me? And she told me why. But at the end of the session, what she really enjoyed was the engaging. I was engaging with her. She said the other 2 doctors never said a word during the whole session. They allowed her to speak, and they never asked her a question. They never engaged. And there are different techniques. People have different techniques, different therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists. But she was looking for someone to engage with her, ask her question, pull some things out of her, because she didn't know how to address some issues in her life.
Well, I think that might have happened that way, but sometimes I think we become a little anxious and having somebody provide us with a solution.
I don't think she was looking for a solution. She was looking for someone to help her understand what she was going through. And I'm not saying that's not a sense of a solution. There are times, though, I have patients when I just listen, and because I need to talk. Matter of fact, remember I told you about that one particular person, and we had a patient, and she said at the end of the session, "Dr. Logan, I need you just to listen." I was outdone.
I understand.
And she said, "What you mean by that?"
You know,
Are you going somewhere with that?
I understand, Kim, because that could be a problem for you sometimes.
It's not a problem for me. I am part of being a good therapist. You have to be able to communicate and listen.
I'm talking about not on the job,
but off the job.
Absolutely.
Okay, so tell me what you feel is one of the most challenging issues of the art of listening with me.
Silence.
What you mean? You need me to be silent?
Sometimes.
Wait a minute. One time we were driving all the way to, we were going to Georgia, going to Atlanta. And I was talking to Arthur, and I said, "Arthur, you're not responding to me. Arthur, do you hear me? Arthur, say something." He said, "Kim, I've been listening to you since we left Detroit." And that was 9 hours ago. And I was like, "Oh, that hurt my feelings." He said, "But you've been talking and talking." And I'm thinking, I'm just keeping him awake and keeping the engaging going. But there was no engaging. I was doing all the talking. He hurt my feelings that time.
And you didn't even realize that you were doing all the talking.
I didn't realize I talked 9 hours.
I know, and that's a problem.
But who do you know can talk 9 hours without any interruption?
That's what I'm saying. It's a problem.
You think that's women? You think women do that?
Can you understand the turmoil that I was going through?
I don't know, because I thought I was really just sharing a lot of things. I was going through a lot of different dynamics.
Yeah.
I was talking about magazine articles. I was talking about our books. I was talking about the children.
It wasn't really turmoil, because even though I may not have engaged as much as you wanted me to,
right?
It was really productive, because some real productivity came out of it.
It did. And I had a captive audience.
Right.
I was able to capture you, because I can never get you to just sit down.
Yeah.
Arthur's a golfer, and he's very, very busy with his programs and different things. So I got him in that car, and I knew I had him for 9 hours.
But those are things that we used to do quite a bit. But I think what has interrupted that type of engaging is the technology that's out here right now.
Oh, yes.
Technology can be positive and negative. It can be distracting. And I think what has happened with many of us is that texting and the cell phone could be very detrimental in relationships. And what has happened with some of the clients that have come into our offices, they really have a difficult time in dealing with their spouse who's constantly texting on the telephone.
Oh, definitely. And a lot of them have lost the ability to do oral communication, because they'll text a message, or I text you today. And I have to always ask our couples, "Did you talk to each other?" "Yes, we text." That's what they say. I say, "No. Did you pick up the phone? Did you call them? Did you say anything to them face to face, verbally?" No, Dr. Nowlin, we text.
But let me add another component to that. What I've also realized in experimenting with certain things with our couples is that sometimes when it's difficult to talk orally, what happens is they need to come up with a different tool to communicate. And so what I've done is recognize that emailing each other what their concerns are as a form of communication is not bad. It can help when it's like, if I talk to you, I anticipate that we're going to be hollering and screaming at each other. Or sometimes I may have to text you just to let you know I got the message that you were trying to deliver to me, but unfortunately you were not able to listen to me. So you can use it in a productive way, but it's working on our communication, not when you're just texting or emailing or communicating with everybody else and you're not communicating with me. That's a void.
That is a void. And another thing is, I want to touch on, when you're communicating, You can't watch television and communicate at the same time.
You mean I can't watch the playoffs?
No, but let me say this, ladies, pick your battles. Do not try to talk to your husbands during the Super Bowl or March Madness or, the playoffs. You didn't know I knew all that, did you? Don't. Wasn't that pretty good?
Yeah, that was good. That
Thank
you remember what I taught you.
Oh, but I have learned to pick my battles, and I have to wait. Now, Arthur, if he plays golf, he's dozing off about 9:30, 10 o'clock. It's over. Okay. So we're still here in the studio, so I'm saying that if I'm going to talk to Arthur, it has to be in the morning. All right. I've got to catch him in the morning because that's the best time because he is a person that likes to communicate in the morning. He will tell me, how many times have you said to me, Kim, I'm going down. Do not talk to me right now. And he says it very nicely, and sometimes I'll go in with a burst of energy, and he'll just look at me like, you about to go. And so that, and I can go for 2 or 3 hours. So he said, not right now, Kim. And I'm like, man, I got so much to say. I want to say it now because I'm a night bird. He's morning. And, so we have to find our balance.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
We're the opposites, but we find our balance.
Yeah.
So what I have to do is, catch him before he goes, talk with him. And, I found another way. I like to catch him. I call you and we talk on the phone.
That's good. I mean, and that works.
And it works for us because
especially when we're trying to deal with some really important business, and we need each other to understand how we want to progress in this particular area.
Right. I put double sinks in our bathroom so we could be in the bathroom at the same time, and we're talking and we're communicating.
But
that
never sat well with me.
You didn't like the double sinks?
Not really.
I asked you about the double sinks.
Yeah, but I was just trying to
accommodate me.
Yeah, because I knew it was something important.
Ladies, don't you just love the double sinks?
But have you noticed, Kim?
What?
I'm not really in there when you're in there.
Oh, I'm just in there when you were in there. That is true.
Yes.
Very seldom. I come in there when you're in there because I got to captivate you. I got to get you and talk to you.
As soon as you come in, I'm leaving.
You are leaving. I noticed that.
It's not to say that I don't enjoy spending time with you. That's another part of the listening. I think what really stands out even more is the fact that if it's an enjoyable conversation, time shoots by.
It does.
And it's really fun. It's fun to communicate with somebody that you really care about. And when the communication stops, that's an issue. That's a problem in the relationship. And I think that's something that motivates a lot of people to come to us, is the fact that their communication has come to a standstill.
It has.
Yeah.
You remember we were on our honeymoon and you read to me.
Absolutely.
And you read me stories and I laid in your lap. It was beautiful. And I listened to those stories. That was the first time, hearing you read stories to me. I wasn't that in tune to storytelling, even though that was part of my dissertation, but it was so beautiful. And I listened and I learned so much from those stories. But you haven't done it since.
Yes, I have. I mean,
when last time you did it?
I read stories that I've written myself.
I know, yes, you have, but not in that venue.
Do you know just what happened here?
What just happened?
I told you I read you stories that I've written. And I
just overlooked it.
You overlooked that.
I'm sorry.
Is that something that you may need to work on, Kim?
I think so.
I think I can help you in that area.
Okay, say it to me again.
Say,
Kim, I'll read you my stories.
Anytime that you feel that you would
No, go back and say, I'll read to you my story. I've read to you my story.
Do I have to say it the way you want me to say it, or can I say it the way I want to say it?
Say it the way you want to say it.
See, that's another issue.
Another issue. So, because I want things my way. I do.
Oh, yes, you
I'm
do.
spoiled.
And
you spoiled me.
Not only that, I think your dad spoiled you and your mom spoiled you. I mean, I'm thinking about a process. Let's go back to this listening aspect.
Okay.
If you had problems listening in your family of origin, that's an issue that you carried on for a long period of time.
Oh.
So even when you get involved in a relationship, there may be some issues as far as your communication skills that you need to improve. And sometimes it takes time for both parties to really recognize I need improvement in this area. So one of the things we also have to recognize is the fact that we are attracted to each other for many, many reasons. And sometimes in my attraction to you, I may overlook other areas. And so those other areas may be really, really something that I need to address and that really stands out. But because of my infatuation with you, I may feel that us being together, you will change eventually.
Or I'll change you.
Or I'll change you.
And that's sometimes very devastating for that individual.
And the listening is still not improved because we still have the same issues.
And when we see couples hollering and screaming in the therapy session, and no one is listening, and there's nothing getting resolved because you're not listening to me and I'm not listening to you. I want to be heard. I want to out-talk you. And so therefore we're back to square one. And, I don't want to go to counseling because it's not doing any good. Well, the counseling is not going to do any good unless you implement the tools of listening.
Set up goals. That's one of the most important things. How can I listen? Now, once I'm going to talk to our audience and let them know there's a simple process that's involved that can help you as far as improving your listening skills. And that process is take a 3-minute or 5-minute time and allow the person that's trying to convey a message, give them 3 uninterrupted minutes to voice their opinion, and then you take 3 uninterrupted minutes to give feedback or voice your opinion. If you use that time frame, it's a training mechanism to help you to learn how to listen to each other in a productive manner.
That's excellent, Arthur. We use that also.
Absolutely.
Well, my goodness, Arthur, the time is already gone.
It's amazing. I can't believe it.
I can't either.
And you were listening to me all the time.
And I was. Yes, I was. Well, listen, we want to thank you, and we hope some of the things we shared with you and what you saw today on Making It Work will help you in the art of listening. I'm Dr. Kim Logan-Nowlin.
I'm Arthur Nowlin.
God bless.
God bless.